Hey there, adventurers. I'm Norolf. Welcome to my tabletop role-playing realm. And in this session, I'm actually going to go through the creating the bandit encounter. So in our last solo session, our characters, just before they made it to the town that they were heading for, had encountered some bandits on the road that they managed to successfully avoid. Now that they've made it to town, they'll probably inform the authorities of the fact that there's bandits kicking around on the road. And they'll probably I think the next part of the adventure I'm going to do with these guys is that they're actually going to go and find out where these bandits are and see if they can actually do something about them. So to that end, I'm going to kind of go through how I've set up or how I created this bandit encounter. So if you remember correctly, the encounter itself entailed 8 bandits, and based on the mid to late afternoon or whenever the encounter happened, I'm assuming that those bandits are probably heading back to their camp with whatever loot or hunting um, supplies or whatever else that they got, and based on the nature of the encounter, they say that there's typically a dominant individual that leads them. The bandits themselves are a poorly equipped group of men that raid targets of opportunity for saleable and usable plunder. Only the leaders will be outfitted with better than leather armor. Just to keep this kind of a sane and potentially survivable encounter for our 2 characters, I've kind of kept these guys to leather armor for the leaders, leather helm, and whatnot. I'll get into how this guy's got a magic bastard sword later. And then our run-of-the-mill bandits here are just normal humans. And I haven't differentiated between whether they're male or female or anything like that. And I've just used the male stats, normal human male stats for their ability scores. Our 2 leaders are treated as character class humans, and then the rest of these guys, as I say, are just normal human males, or stats of normal human males, whether they're male, female, or otherwise. So the leaders themselves, you start by rolling 3d10 and adding 10, and then once you figure out what their strength, stamina, and constitution bonuses are, you add that to the total hit point value. Then you determine what their combat experience level is after that, rolling percentile dice on the next table. So again, I've kind of kept this reasonable for these guys. I'm assuming the bandit leader Orford here is combat experience level 4, EL 3, and his second in command is Bart, who's got a combat experience level of 3 and an EL of 2 in his combat skills. Now, from there, based on the hit point value that you rolled earlier, it'll determine what the constitution bonus is. So Orford has a constitution bonus of +2, whereas Bart has a +1. And then again, based on the hit point value, the more hit points they have, the higher their stamina and strength and stamina bonuses are, and the lower their dex and agility bonuses are. So I did a total of 4 points. So we have 4 points of strength and stamina bonus for Orford, and 3 points of dex and agility bonus. And those you can split however you want. So it could be 3 strength bonus, 1 stamina bonus, 1 strength bonus, 3 stamina bonus, or whoever, with minimum of 1, of course. And it's same for the dex and agility, 2 and 1 or 1 and 2. So for Orford, he's got a +2/+2, and dex and agility a +2/+1. Bart, on the other hand, had 3 and 4 for bonuses here. So I split them with +1 strength, +2 stamina, and +2 dex and +2 agility. So, and then from there, you basically go through and figure out the rest of their stats based on their strength and stamina bonuses, so OCVs, DCVs, movement rates, magic defensive value, energy level, combat difficulty factor, damage tolerance value, etc. And so the rest of their stats got figured out there. Now, these characters have a chance of having magic as well, and that's equal to their combat experience level times 10. And I did roll less than 40 for Orford, but I didn't roll less than 30 for Bart. So Orford did end up with one magic item. And when rolling on the magic on the table here for determining the type of magic item, I ended up with a weapon. And I figured, you know what, let's make this useful. And if our illustrious adventurers manage to deal with these bandits, maybe there's a bit of a bonus here for one of them, likely Raffin or something, as a magical weapon. And I'll probably get into a little bit of that later on here. Now, our normal run-of-the-mill bandits. So again, these guys are based on just normal humans. And you see I've split them into 3 groups here. So there's 3 bandits with a 1.2 multiplier. Got 4 bandits with a 1 multiplier. So they're just the straight stats as is. And 3 bandits with a 0.7 multiplier. And then I've kind of equipped them slightly differently. So club and padded armor, spear and padded armor, and bow, dagger, and padded armor. Okay, so what does that multiplier actually mean? So if we go to creature variations on page 352, you'll see that the 1.2 multiplier on here is a 1.2 times the plus side and a 1 times the minus side. So on the plus side, that 1.2 modifies their hit points, their DTV, strength, stamina, constitution. They don't have natural armor, MDV, combat difficulty factor. They don't have a contact level, their energy level, and their healing chance. Actually use, it's optional, but I modify their healing chances as well. So, and then on the minus side, that 1 times multiplier basically goes against the dex and agility, so their dex and agility doesn't change. So we take into account these first guys. Their OCV is going to be based on their average hit points divided by 5, round up. So 12 divided by 5 is going to be 3. Then adding their strength and stamina bonuses. Oh, sorry. No, is that right? Start with a 4. Okay, so yeah, let's work through that calculation. So that's going to be 3, 4 for strength bonus, and 2 for his combat experience level. So that's going to be a total of 6. Then on the DCV side, going to be the movement rate divided by 5, round up. So that's going to be 2 plus his combat experience level of 2. So he's going to have a DCV 4. Oh, yes, that is right. Okay, so our other bandits, they have under normal circumstances, they have a OCV2, DCV2, and how did I end up with 4 here? Should be 3. 3 and 3. So they're no stamina or agility bonus modifiers, but they have a combat experience level 1. So that gets added to their base OCV of 2 and DCV 2. And then when we go back to our other multipliers on the 0.7 side for these last guys, you'll see that it's 0.7 on the plus side and 1.8 on the minus side. So all these stats get modified by 0.7, and then their dex and agility get multiplied by 1.8. So they ended up with a +1 dex and +1 agility bonuses. So again, if we go through the calculations, we have a hit point value of 7, divided by 5 round up, so that's going to be 2, and add their combat experience level, so that's going to be 4 for an OCV. And then on the movement side, they're ending up with 13 divided by 5, so 3 as a base DCV. Adding their bonuses, it's going to make that a 5, so +1 and +1, and then 2 for the combat experience level, so a total of 7 on their DCV. Cool, so that's that. Now, in calculating these guys, so figuring out what treasure these guys might have. So it's based on their station. So I'm assuming that this is somewhat arbitrary. I just assumed Orford is a station 2, Bart has a station of 1, and the rest of these guys are just commoners, peasants, that sort of thing that have been conscripted into being bandits, and they all have a station of 0. And if we go back to the character creation rules in book 1, and we look at the station table here, station 0 are serfs, slaves, indentured peasants, barbarian, outcasts, unproven warriors, etc. So these guys are essentially unproven warriors. Station 1 is going to be like a common soldier or something like that, so that's Bart. And then station 2 is going to be like an artisan, guildsman, military sergeant, constable, petty merchant, experienced barbarian, warrior, whatnot. So I just figured, that seems like an appropriate enough station for Orford here. Now, in determining the treasure on page, if we head down to page 831 or 381, we see that the lair treasure is going to be based for a human on their station +1. So I'm going to take Bart's station of 2 and add 1 to it for a total of 3. And the 2 stars here indicate that these creatures have individual or portable treasure as well. So under normal circumstances, when we look at the humans, the treasure that a human may have is based on a station and the type of encounter that he is in. So see the specific encounter descriptions in number 16. But in this case, and you determine it by their station plus their combat experience level. So either 1 or 2 for these guys, for these commoner bandits. So for them, what I figured is their station is 0 or 1. They're going to have brass bits for the kind of type of coin that they're holding. I didn't want to give them too much treasure, so I rolled on the table down here for the number of coins. Ended up with, I think it was 2d10, and rolled just by group here. So our first group of bandits have 14 brass bits each. Our second group of bandits have 12 brass bits each, and our third group of bandits have 16 brass bits each. Similarly for Orford and Bart, they station 2 means that Orford is going to be carrying copper coins. So I rolled on the table down below. He ended up with 30 copper coins. And Bart ended up again with his station of 1. Probably should have had brass bits, but for whatever reason, I gave him copper coins. I was probably thinking similar to Orford, so I'm fine with that. But normally he would have been dealing with brass bits instead of copper coins. So, and for him, I ended up with 23 copper coins for him. So our lair treasure. So we have 3 items that we're picking or rolling for. So looking at the specific treasure table here at 17.3, we look back here. Basically, it says, in determining the treasure type for these creatures, add 1 to all rolls on. Oh, okay. So if they have just a single star beside the number here, that means that they've got typically slightly better treasure, so they have a chance of something a bit more on the table. And we're rolling on table 17.3. our guys did not have a star beside them, or humans didn't have it there. So basically, for the area, pick one of these that maybe most closely suits the type of encounter or the area that you're in. I think for these guys, I just assumed it was going to be like a barracks or castle or something like that. I think I went with castle, or maybe barbarian house. And in the 3 treasure types that they get, I rolled coins, gems, jewels, or jewelry, and an other. So if we look at do the coins first, rolled a d10, ended up with silver coins, and then on the percentile roll, ended up with 2d10 times 2. So right here. And that gave us 32 copper coins as kind of the lair treasure, or part of the lair treasure. So somewhere there's a small chest or something that Orford is stashing a bit of a cache in. So the next one is the gems, jewels, or jewelry. And for that, we roll a die 3, and it's either going to be, if it's a 1, it's a gem, if it's a 2, it's a jewel, and if it's a 3, it's going to be a piece of jewelry. I rolled a 2. So we look at the next table. Here I rolled a 8 or 9 and got a medium-sized jewel. So the medium-sized jewel. On the appearance, we got a nearly flawless, which was another roll of 8 or 9. So that was plus 2 to the 6. So that made it 8 for base factor. And then on clarity, I rolled a fine clarity as well. So that's another plus 2. That gave us a total of 10 for a factor. Next is rolling the type of stone. And for that, we just got a garnet, which is a 1 times multiplier. So we stayed at the base factor of 10. So the last table here, factor 10, rolled percentile dice and got a 0.6 silver coin, which gave us a total of a jewel worth 6 silver coins. So that's probably in that same little chest with the rest of these coins. All right, for the last item, the keg, or other goods. If we go down to other treasure on table 1712 here, rolled and got keg goods. And if we head down to the keg goods. So I rolled a die 10, and on a roll of 1, it indicates whatever is in the keg is rancid. On a roll of 9 or 10, it means the keg is empty. And 2 to 8, 2 to 8, adding 2 and multiplying by 10. So if I rolled I think I rolled a 5 here, added 2 to it, so whatever the keg is 70% full. Now, the type, the size of the keg is a 20 quart. So again, you roll percentiles here, figure out what the size of the keg is, and then roll again the percentile to figure out what's inside the keg, and ended up with fine wine. So the referee may vary the number of kegs that are found. If he does not choose to do so, roll a die 3. 1 indicates 1 keg, 2 indicates die 6 kegs, and 3 indicates 2 die 6 kegs, and I end up with a single keg. Single keg of fine wine that's 70% full. It's probably something that they've been somewhat indulging in anyways. All right, so that takes care of figuring out the lair treasure. Let's get back to our magic item that our bandit leader here has. If we go back to the human encounters, or somewhere around the human encounters, are these guys. Nope, into the treasures. No, let's go back a ways. Okay, human encounter. So, our combat experience level 4 and 3 guys here, as I may have mentioned before, Combat experience level 4. Per combat experience level, he has a 10% chance of having a magic item. So for Bart, rolled the percentiles, got less than 40 or less, and he ended up with one magic item. For Orford, I mean. For Bart, 30% chance, he didn't get anything. So we go down to the preferred table. We ended up with a weapon for Orford. And again, for making it kind of useful for our group, I figured it's going to be a magic bastard sword of some sort. Okay, so from there we roll on the table, got the weapon. So like I said, the magic bastard sword, and from there we figure out the magic sword. I think we go to the magic tables. Let's see. Doesn't say anything else here. So we head off to the look for the weapon magic items. So in the treasure tables, go down far enough here, under military treasures, we get into weapons. And you can roll percentile to see what type of weapon it is. But like I said, I figured I'd stick with the bastard sword just for relevance for the characters in question. Bit of a bonus for them if they manage to deal with these bandits, as I said. Now, the actual magic is magic treasures. So, general rules. MEL is going to be 2d6, and the EL is going to be d10. So I've got here MEL5, EL3 for the Magic Bastard Sword. And what that does for us is if we go to the, go back to the spells and look up the permanent magics, way down to the permanent magics, Raising Hand, where are we? Romantic, Orient Self, Paralysis, Perception. Okay, so enchantment. So I'm going to assume the Magic Bastard Sword is enchanted, MEL5, EL3. So for the weapon, what happens here is you get a hit chance bonus of the EL +1. So that makes this a +4 to hit, +4 to the percent chance of hitting. So this modifies the range, or I guess the equivalent would be subtracting 4 from your percentile roll to hit. And the fatigue value is increased by the EL ×2 +1. So the fatigue value for this bastard sword is 17 now. And the weapon strength bonus is EL divided by 2 round up. So again, that's going to add 2. So our weapon strength bonus for bastard sword goes to +3, or if you're charging, +2. Yeah, so that basically takes care of the kind of rounding out the bandits. So for the next solo session, as I mentioned, Gildor and Raffin are going to be seeking out where these bandits are camped and seeing if they can potentially do something about either reducing their numbers or dealing with the bandit threat to the road. So we'll see how that goes. Anyways, hope this was informative and kind of my typical process for walking through and creating a human encounter of some sort. In this case, our bandits, and gauging it kind of to what I think the party could handle. Maybe not all at once, but if they can, break off these bandits into separate groups, or maybe catch them as individual groups go out hunting or something like that, maybe they'll have a chance. So, anyways, have a great day, guys, and next session will be the next video will be the next solo session for Gildor and Raffin. Have a great day. Happy adventuring.